Center in the Rockies. The light on the mesa. Hello, they say they can't hear
Mark,
me.
we cannot hear Linda.
Now they
Can you please
can.
turn that on?
It's on. How about now? How about now? Good morning, Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies, the light on the mesa. Good morning to everyone in our sanctuary and in our Zoom room. Hi, Zoomies. Where's the camera? Hi, Zoomies. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Linda Anthony, and I'm your platform assistant today, and it's so wonderful to see everyone here today. For those of you who are with us for the first or second time, welcome. We are so glad you are with us today and look forward to supporting you on your spiritual journey. Please make sure to see one of our ushers to pick up a visitor form and return your completed form to an usher or give it to our office administrator. Our guest musician today is Joe Uvegas. Joe is a frequent guest here at Unity as our guest musician. He also performs at CSL and other venues around Colorado, plus other venues around the United States. Yay. Welcome back, Joe.
Thanks. That was enough applause. Thanks.
It's me, it's me. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you today?
Beautiful.
You know, we are those who are left behind. Half of our community left yesterday. Do you know where they went? Oklahoma. Oklahoma. They went to Oklahoma because it's eclipse on Monday.
That's right.
And so we have a bunch of people who are down there. So we're just going to hold a lot of energy for safe travel and safe eyes, right? Like safe eyes while they're doing this work. Very important trip for a lot of people and interesting shifting energy we'll see over the next long time after this. So if you want to know more about that, about shifting energy and the eclipse, I will post something on our page later. There's quite a bit to say about this particular event. So we'll post some information and you can check in on it. I want to remind you of a couple things. First, I want to remind you that we are on Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapaho land, and that we recognize the pain of colonization, and we recognize that it is our responsibility to be the heart of healing for that, and it's part of what we think about here. I want to remind you that we are an inclusive spiritual community, and when you come here, you are not required to believe anything. You can come here just because you like coming. You are invited into a curious approach to your spirituality. You are invited to listen, to hear, to consider, and most important of everything, to feel what goes on right here inside of you when you hear something, to notice if it feels right to you, to notice if you find yourself nodding your head, which tells you a little bit something about yourself, doesn't it? So when you come here, different than other spiritual communities, we're not going to tell you what to believe. We're going to give you an opportunity to consider. Our founders were very open to change. In fact, we're known to say, this is what I believe today, and I might change my mind tomorrow. And that is very much what you'll find here. So we invite you also to consider. So I want to start this morning before we drop in deep with a quote I'd like you to listen to. This is a quote. It is my favorite quote from Charles Fillmore. And Charles and Myrtle Fillmore are our founders. And it says this: "The true church is not made of creeds and forms, nor is it contained in walls of wood and stone. The heart of man is its temple, and the Spirit of truth is the one guide into all truth. When men learn, it was men back then, it was the 1800s, we're going to say men and women. I don't think Charles will mind if we make that slight adjustment. When men, women, and people of all identity learn to turn within to the Spirit of truth, who is in each one for his light and inspiration, the differences between the churches of man will be eliminated, and the one church will be recognized. I love this consideration that we come to this sacred space every week because it is a place for us to gather, but not because this is the church. This is the space. It's the hearts of what we do together that bring us into the heart of the holy, that bring through us the heart of the holy. So for the next few weeks, we are going to experiment. We're going to play together a little bit. Are you up for that? Yeah. Okay. So I've been gone for 3 years, almost 3 years. And we did lots of different things during that time. And I kind of want to get a feel for what feels fresh and new in this space. So we have some kind of old standard songs. We're not going to do any of those today. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, just a little tiny little bit different. If you were here in our 9 o'clock service years ago, we did something called a rolling ohm. Do you remember? Who remembers what that is? So a rolling ohm is an interesting way of ohming. You don't necessarily all start together. You breathe for yourself. You take a nice deep breath in. You ohm until your breath is gone. And you take a nice deep breath in and you start again. And when we ohm at our own rate, the resonance is consistent in this room. So what we will do every week when we come together after we've been welcomed in is we will do something to deepen us and connect us into sacred space. And this morning, we're going to start with an ohm. So Joe, you want to get us started? And we're just going to do this until it kind of wanes.
So we're going to start with the G, and you feel free to add the fifth at some point. Okay.
Just notice in this moment how that slight bit of sound brings you to your heart. Just notice how things change in this room. I invite you to stay in the silence for a moment, to take yourself deeper. Find your feet on the ground. Notice the weight of your body as it rests in the chair. Relax. This time is a gift you have given yourself. This time is a gift you have given yourself. I invite you to open your mind, to let guidance come through. I invite you to open your heart to each other, to the divine that flows through you. I invite you to be in gratitude for the healthy physical form that brought you here today, to let go of any judgment about its rightness or wrongness, and to simply be grateful for the temple of your soul. When you feel ready, gently open your eyes. Look around for a minute. Make contact. Say good morning. See some friends. It feels different, doesn't it? It feels different to welcome each other from that centered place. When we welcome each other as we're coming in, it's kind of the business of church. But when we settle in and we welcome each other, then we see and receive the eyes of God. We see each other from that holy place and we connect with one another from the holy that flows through them. And I'll tell you, it's an amazing thing if you just let yourself receive the gift of the holy looking back at you. So this time I want you to look and not speak. Just look at the people you love. We are the living, moving, breathing expression of the holy. That by itself, if that's all we walk out of here with today, that we are the living, breathing, moving expression of the holy, we're done. If you could actually carry that when you leave here today, and that's who you were when you went out that door, and who you are when you wake up tomorrow morning, and who you are the day after that, then you will have gotten last week's Easter message, right? We are Christ consciousness. We are the living, moving, breathing, hands, heart, love of the holy. That is really what the Fillmores taught. So we talk a lot about it here. We talk a lot about God as the indwelling God. Today, I want you to know that that is so, if that feels right for you. And I also want to invite you to consider the God around you, in the air, in the people, in the building, in the everything. Because we're kind of black and white people, and we like to do one or the other. Either God is on the inside or God is on the outside. Which one is it, Ahriana? Yeah. The answer is yes, both. All of that. There is an energy, a life energy, that is the holy that we emerge from. And this emerges from it, and Joe emerges from it, and you emerge from it, and the table, and the walls, and everything. If we could get to the bottom of it, it would be God. God, Goddess, universal energy, great spirit, source, what do you want to call it? If we could get to the bottom of it, it would be that. So are we surrounded by God? Yes. Are we the expression of God? Yes. Are we sitting on the chair that expresses as God? Yes. 100% all the time, everything. The kids say, there is not a spot where God is not. There's not a spot where God is not. We're going to talk about sacred space today, about our joint intention to create this community. Which is not to say that this community doesn't already have life. It has a brilliant, more than 100-year-old life. But it is to say we can turn up the light of our intention. And we're going to do that. But before we get started, I want to welcome you, my friend, to thank you so much for your sweet spirit. Joe has agreed to be here several times over the next couple of months and to guide us musically and with your sweetheart. And so I'm grateful, and I want to turn this over and ask if you'll take us into our holy time of reflection.
Thank you, Ahriana. Thank you so much. So this song is about the yes. And every time I sing the line, humbled by the wonder, you can repeat to me, humbled by the wonder of it all. So the first time you'll probably not be able to do it because you don't know exactly what I'm doing, but you'll feel it easily after that. Wandering wide in the forest of life, I'm humbled by the wonder of it all. That was it. Of it all. And I can see there is much more than me. I am humbled by the wonder of it all. Lovely. Of it all. Don't be shy, yeah. And floating there, cotton clouds in the air, I am humbled by the wonder of it all. Of it all. The gentlest breeze makes me weak in the knees. I am humbled by the wonder of it all. Of it all. Mystery, deep as the sea. And I'm so small, I'm humbled by the wonder of it all. A bird on the wing, and I can't help but sing. I am humbled by the wonder of it all. Of it all. And spiders weave and hear my heart's on my sleeve. I'm humbled by the wonder of it all. Of it all. And mystery, deep as the sea. And we're so small, I'm humbled by the wonder of it all. Oh, 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 ooh, ooh. One at a time, every heart will align. I'm humbled by the wonder, humbled by the wonder of it, humbled by the wonder, humbled by the wonder of it, humbled by the wonder, humbled by the wonder of it all. Thank you.
Hey, sweet Zoom friends. I won't get that close. There are like 35 of you on there, and we looked at everybody else's face except yours. So I'm going to ask if for one moment you would just open your cameras, just for a minute, and let us see your beautiful faces and acknowledge you behind those names. If you are willing to do that, we would love, love, love to see your beautiful faces and welcome you and know that you are here. Your presence is here and felt. And we love you. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, good morning. Oh, Joe, that could not have been more perfect.
The second one won't be anywhere near as good.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that. So when I walked in here, the first time after I had agreed to come back, I came in on a Friday night with Mark, just wanting to feel the space. So we came in late. I called River so she wouldn't be afraid. Who's over at the church in the middle of a Friday night? I called her and said, I'm going to be in the church building. And Mark and I walked in, and he just kind of sat down in here and let me do a little wandering. And I noticed how the energy felt in here. And what I felt, and remember, our perception of energy belongs to each of us. It's not always the same. So my having my perception does not mean that would have been your perception on that particular night. But I walked in with a prayer, and the prayer was, what is mine to do here? Why am I here? What needs my heart? And what I felt on that day was the coldness of the energy. That the energy was not buzzing like it usually does for me. So I say that with great care because many of you have done tremendous work here over the last 3 years to hold the heart of this community tenderly and with great love. So I want to first say that impression was of an empty building without your hearts in it. Right? This was just me and this space. And I want to invite you to consider that for almost 2 years, maybe actually almost 2 years, 18 months, I believe we were out of this building, somewhere right around there. That for 18 months we stepped out of this building and we said all the time, we're not the building. We're the community. We're not the building. And then I left, and your board brought you back into the building, and you guys began to rebuild community. And what I wonder is how consistently we have reconnected with this space as a holy being, this space as something more than walls, this space in the same way that I have asked you to connect with your own self as the living expression of the holy. This space is the living expression of the holy, isn't it? Because there is not a spot where God is not, right? What is this then? It is so much more than just walls. It is an energetic manifestation that this community has taken stewardship of. This ground that we're on, that I mentioned this morning, was the ground of the native tribes, of First Nations people. This ground has been preyed on and held life for a very long time. And we have built a holy place here because it has a feeling. There's a reason people choose a certain place for a building. We chose this as our spiritual home because it has a certain potential. Let's call it potential. So we have the opportunity to shift our way of interacting with this space, to actually become more intentional about what it is that we're doing here, what it is that we're in relationship with. So I want to ask you a question. It's kind of a series of questions. So when you got up this morning and you got up and went, church. How many of you had no electricity? Yeah, me too. I was really worried about what I was going to look like when I got here this morning. Bedhead, boy, I had a good case of it. But the electricity came on magically just when I needed it to. So yeah, maybe you got up this morning and said, it's kind of windy and cold. I'm not sure I really want to go to that building. Not really, yeah. At least the teenager in the room did. I completely understand. So you got up and went, okay, but I want to see the faces. And Zoomies, this is not to say anything about your choosing to be on Zoom, because we know that energetically you are part of this. If there isn't a better energetic expression of us being all things, it's happening right there in that room, right? What a miracle that is. So here we are together, whether you chose to turn on the screen or you chose to drive here. When you got up this morning and decided you were going to come to our spiritual gathering, when did you decide it was a holy thing? When did you decide when you were brushing your teeth? I don't think so. Did you decide when you picked out your clothes? No. Did you decide when you got in your car? Mm-mm. How about when you pulled in the parking lot? When you came through the front door? Kind of came in and said hello to everybody, but I would bet that the majority of us dropped into holy when we went, let's Om together. Right? We missed a whole bunch of possibility, didn't we? A tremendous opportunity to go from this wide life that we have down, down, down till we get to the pinpoint that is this moment together. What would it be like if you got up in the morning and you said, today is my sacred day? Spirit, open me before I even get out of this bed. Open me to see, feel, sense, and be present to you in all things. Let me express you fully in all that I do. What if you what if everybody in this room did that before they got out of bed? Do you think it would feel different when we all got here? Whew. Imagine. We have this tremendous opportunity to do this every single day in all that we do. To get out of bed in a prayerful way, inviting the potential of a spiritual living, a spiritual life, a spiritual experience in all we do, spiritual words falling from our lips. What if you brushed your teeth? You guys have heard me say this before. What if when you brushed your teeth every morning it was a prayer? As I clean my mouth, I clean it that the holy words can fall from my mouth, that I am a perfect vessel for expressing what is holy and sacred, what is healing in the world. Now, sometimes holy words are not kind, soft-spoken. Sometimes holy words are stop. Sometimes the most holy thing you can say is no. But if your intention is to speak in a holy way, to live in a holy way, to recognize all of life as the manifestation of the divine, everything changes. So what if you woke up that way? And what if you brushed your teeth that way? And what if you got in your car and said, beautiful being, please give me safe travel to this sacred space? What if you actually connected with your vehicle and said, hey, let's have a safe journey? Mark says, let's have a safe and beautiful journey. His car's name is Midnight. Every time we get into it. Good morning, Midnight. Let's have a safe and beautiful journey. Do you think that's a guy with road rage? Right? I don't care whether you name your car or not, but it is a vehicle that is the living energy of the divine. It makes a difference if you intend for it to get you safely where you're going. And when I do that consistently, I've had vehicles that have never let me down. They will break down in front of my house, but not on the street corner, because I have relationship with the living energy that is that vehicle. All of it is alive. We're fooling ourselves to believe that this is solid. It's moving energy. So all of this is alive. And what would happen if when you crossed the threshold here into the parking lot, you said, thank you. That beautiful place that I go to gather with community is here waiting. Thank you. Thank you for the view of the glorious mountain that greets us. Thank you for the community that waits in these doors. What if you stepped across the threshold and took a deep breath? What if you didn't just pull the door open and come walking in, but you actually stopped at the front door and remembered that you're entering this sacred space that we have co-created, a place where we want anybody who walks in to feel the love of this community? Would the love be stronger? I say yes. If all of us affirmed at the front door, I usually stop. I park my car over here, and then I stop right out front, and I look at the mountain for a minute, take a deep breath, and just take in the beauty and ask for the energy to be adjusted. Whatever needs to go, let me not take it in the door with me. Whatever I need to have within me, let that be present so I can do whatever is my work to do today. It changes things. Then step in here. Then do a deepening. You will buzz. You will feel it in your body because you intended it from the time you left home all the way till you got here. So when we redid this room, which was 2016, summer of 2016, some of you will remember that it was brick like it is out there. And before we put up the drywall, one Sunday we wrote our prayers inside these walls before the drywall went up. So you may not know that you are surrounded in the prayers of community, but your history here holds you. The history of all the people who were here at that time and have come here and prayed. The history of the ancestors that we put in this wall, asking, please, let all the people who have ever prayed here, let their energy be a blessing on the community as it grows in new ways. That's true. That was done in the space that is now the supply room. It was also done, you guys all came in and out of my office and did a blessing in my office, in the minister's office. So I'm sure that you did some ceremony to come in to this space. I'm sure that there was something that was done when you all came back, and I'm sure it was a glorious moment, and I know that you did stuff at your 100th anniversary. This morning, I'm inviting you into a simple action. Up here is this bowl of water. It's got some roses in it, some rose petals. You can feel them and maybe rub them on your hands. Rose is the fragrance that people most often smell when they notice that they have a feeling of the holy surrounding them. So it's an automatic touch point for us, the fragrance of rose. So here's what I want you to do. Joe's going to play a little music. You're going to come up, shake your hands off so they're just damp, and you're just going to walk over and reactivate. Reactivate. Welcome back in all the prayers. Add your prayers if you are new here. Add your prayers. But we're going to take a moment in this room and be intentional about the love that we want to exist in this space, from your heart to that living presence that is this temple that we gather in. If you are Kathy, and some of you who need some extra care, I'm going to walk around with damp hands so that you can have some water yourself and you can reach the walls, the chairs, whatever is good for you, okay? You guys can handle this. Joe, will you give us music? Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Remember, this is your sacred space. If you are on the Zoom room, just imagine that you are placing your hands in the water and joining us here. And it will be so. Put yourself in this space and in our Zoom room. Bring the blessings in. So, do you think what we just did changes things? Will you remember when you walk in next week, that you have honored, acknowledged, and awakened this energetic being that we call Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies? Will you remember that this is a being and not just a place? And that when we honor this space, it honors us in exchange. It expresses the divine as we express the divine, in the same way that we look into each other's eyes and express the divine. This is a very holy time. There is a, yes, please, go ahead. I will talk long enough for that to happen. Holy, holy water, yes. Bless the walls back there, Joe. Okay. We were talking about authenticity when he and I were talking this morning. This is the reason for years we referred to the person who cares for this building, to the people who care for the lawn, the people who care for the space, the people who repair, the people who clean. We referred to them as temple keepers, right? Because it's so much more than just emptying trash. It's so much more than washing windows. It's so much more, so much different when we recognize that we are caring for the place, that we will bring our tears, that we will bring our joy, that we will find people who think like us and talk with people who don't in a civilized way. This is a very, very powerful place. And when we recognize that and we greet it and we communicate with it and we honor this space, it matters. When people built great cathedrals, whole families were involved and they laid brick for hundreds of years. Grandpa died and Dad built the next level, and Dad died, and then the son built the next level, and then the grandson. The energy of that family passed from generation to generation. Here is different. And yet it's not different at all if we enter this space prayerfully, if we remember to set our intention coming in, if we hold the sacredness of this space, if we remember the people who have prayed here. So I want to tell you a story since I have a minute. In about 2007, I guess, 6, 7, I had a chance to go to South Korea, to a little city called Daegu. And in Daegu, they have a 4,000-year-old temple. And it's a Buddhist temple. And I went there because a friend of mine had cancer, and I wanted to pray while I was there. I had just found out she had cancer. So I went to this temple, and a monk met me at the door, And in Asia, some of you may have been there and noticed this. We think of a threshold as that flat metal strip that's on the floor between one room and another. When you step into these temples, there's like a 2x8 strip. So you have to step over and into the temple space. You can't just walk across the threshold. You have to step over and in. So I was standing on this side of the temple and talking with the monk, and she asked me why I was here, and I said, my friend has cancer, I want to pray for her. And she told me about the incense up by the big, giant, beautiful Buddha and how to make a prayer, how to walk in and make a prayer. And I stood talking to her, and I thanked her, and I barely turned my eyes on the room as I stepped over the threshold, and I was instantly pulled to my knees in spontaneous flooding tears. Like when you cry when you're grieving and you think your heart's going to fall out of your mouth, the tears that came from me, I don't know that I've ever had that experience any other time where there was so much so much in my body that it had to leave my body that way. All I did was this. So why? Why? Because people have prayed there for 4,000 years. Because for 4,000 years, there's been a monk at the door to ask you what you're praying for. For 4,000 years, people have been invited over the threshold to pray, to bring their deepest pain, their greatest joy into that space. For 4,000 years, they have kept a wooden building painted and standing. And it's a wooden building. For 4,000 years, they have cared for that temple as a place where human beings would come and bring their hearts. And I felt it, all of it, when I stepped over the threshold. It matters that we hold this space for what it truly is. It doesn't mean that our community can't be community without its building. We already know that. But that's not the point today, is it? The point today is this building is one that we have accepted care of. It's not just here for us, we're here for it. And it is a powerful gift that we have to give it, to recognize it as the living expression of the holy, to cultivate that here so that when we bring our own hurts, we find healing here. So that when we bring our own joys, we can celebrate more fully. So that the people out in the world right now who are struggling with the chaos of life, and there is a lot, have a place to go that feels opening, where they will walk in and sit in a chair like many of us did and sit and cry and not have any idea why. How many of you came in here and cried? Don't know why. Don't know why, but I walked in here, sat down in the chair, and cried. My people, my place, a place where God by all names and faces is available to me, where I can bring my true heart and be exactly who I am, whether I'm skeptical or I'm deep in my belief. This is powerful, powerful work. And when you think about the longer picture and attracting a minister, you want to attract a minister who feels that when they walk in the door. You want to create it strongly so that when that person, the person who is, as our friend Linda would say, who we are seeking is already seeking us. Mm-hmm. The person who is seeking us will feel it when they walk in the door if we feel it and honor it and make it present. So I'm going to leave this water here, and you have the ability to come back and take more blessing water out through the building if you like. I will leave it until noon for you to do that with, and then I will take it out into the yard. It's just water and rose petals, and I will offer it out in the yard. If you want to be part of the facilities care team, know what your job is. You are a temple keeper. If you are going to help us in the gardens, make it beautiful around here this summer, care for the plants and the living things that are here, you are a temple keeper. If you are willing to bring your heart to the care of this space, do so with open heart for the living presence that we are blessed to share relationship with. Let me read this to you one more time. The true church is not made of creed or form, nor is it contained in walls of wood and stone. The heart of man is its temple, and women and people of all, everybody. And the Spirit of truth is the one guide into all truth. When we learn to turn within to the Spirit of truth who is in each of us for our light and inspiration, the differences between the churches of people will be eliminated, and the one church will be recognized. It's the church here, the church here, the church here, the church there. Welcome home.
When I was a boy each week, Sundays we would go to church, pay attention to the priest, and he would read the holy word, consecrate the holy bread, and everything would kneel and bow. How things have changed since then, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. And we would go to Sunday school, and we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. I remember feeling sad, the miracles don't but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small. An even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath, 'cause I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven second-rate hand-me-down, but I'm walking with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. And everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to see. See another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. And this morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head, and I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then, 'cause everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven second-rate hand-me-down. But I'm walking with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Ooh.
I don't want to talk. Sometimes there's such a gift in the quiet, isn't there? To just let it sink in. Yeah, just let it be here. Let us be here. We belong to each other. We belong to each other. We think of our families as a place that we belong to each other. Here we belong to each other differently, and yet such powerful belonging there is here. Thank you for that. Next week, Christina will be here. I will be in Parker, helping a church in Parker do their core vision, their vision, mission, and core values, something I committed to before I came here. And a piece of work we'll do while I'm here as well. So Christina is going to step in next week and speak, and Connie will be back. The week after that, I'll be back. The week after that, some of you know Ryan because he was like 7 when I started here. He's now 20, almost 22. And he called me about a month ago and said, "Mom, Neil Young is playing in Phoenix. Do you want to go?" Now, he could have said anybody, and I would have said absolutely. Because if your kid asks you to go, you go. But the fact that I get to go see the Neil Young concert with my 21-year-old is pretty dang amazing. So the board has been kind to give me that time. So I will be here on the 21st, and then we'll start May. Joe is going to be with us a couple of times. Connie's going to be with us a couple of times. We have a couple of other musicians who will be here. We're going to play like this. We're going to make it very real. We're going to keep our hearts alive, and there's not going to be a lot of planned stuff. We're going to be open-hearted and real with one another, because that's God calling. I actually stole that. That's from those of you who remember our friend Evan Hodkins. That was Evan Hodkins' line. When the phone would turn on in a workshop, that's God calling. We are called here to bring our true selves. I hope you will keep showing up. I hope if you are gone traveling this summer, you'll be thinking now about spending your Sundays somewhere where you can be on the screen with us. We need each other right now. We need each other to do this work, to call in the perfect next minister, to call in, and I'm here for a little while. The board and I are working together. I'm not going to leave you in a hole, I promise. And I am going to steer us towards the future. So let's bring our whole selves here. Show up when you can. When you can't, if you can be on the screen with us, show up here. If you can get your real body in this place, put your real body in here. And if you are far away and you cannot, my sweet friends out in California are here this morning. Penny is out in Massachusetts. If we are coast to coast, okay, there is energy flowing here from coast to coast. So wherever you are, hold the light on the mesa. It's more than words. It's something. Okay? As we go into our time of giving, I will repeat to you what I do each week. If for some reason you feel hesitant to give today, if you cannot give in an open and comfortable way, we understand. There are things that happen. If you are unable, we honor that. If you are uncomfortable, we honor that. We ask that you do not add that energy, because the energy of giving that we have here is free. It's open and it's a blessing. And we invite you, if you are giving, no matter how you're giving, whether you give online, whether you give through our website and its donate button, or you give in here, or you mail in, whatever it is that you do, pretend it's in your hands right now. Hold the energy of that gift in your hands and understand this. We do this for a very powerful reason, because we live in 2024 in a world that seems a little bit crazy. And there need to be sane, loving, welcoming places where people are safe to bring their hearts. So we give to make that happen. And that is how your gift is used, to hold this sane, loving, spiritual blessing for a world that needs it. For those in the neighborhood that don't even know they're blessed by the presence of this. And for those who willfully and intentionally walk through the doors looking for it. And for all of us who are so blessed to know what we have. So let us hold our gift in our hands and say together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Anything you want, Joe.
You can say that you stand apart, put a fence around your yard. You can build a tall rampart, guarded with a gun. You can dig yourself a moat, burn the bridge, burn the boat. It won't matter that much, you know, 'cause all the world is one. All the world is one. You can march in a big parade every Independence Day. You can raise up your own flag, sing your own anthem, and it will ring out in the air with all the other anthems there, till the winds of the earth declare, all the world is one. All the world is one. Go and ask the Buddha when he's sitting under a tree. Go ask Walt Whitman when he's staring out at the sea. Ask Alan Shepard when he's standing up on the moon, staring at that pearl of blue. Ask an atom in the breath you take. Ask the water by the river bank. Ask a strand of DNA, it's written in your blood. One life running in your veins, one light from one big bang. You can try to separate it, but all the world is one. All the world is one. Go and ask the Buddha when he's sitting under a tree. Ask Annie Dillard when she's up on Tinker Creek. Ask Alan Shepard when he's standing up on the moon, staring at that pearl of blue. You can take an outbound train, try to make a getaway. You can act just like John Wayne. You can ride just like John Wayne into the setting sun. But earthlings don't leave town, they just go round and round till they figure out that all the world is one. All the world is one. All the world is one.
We're grateful for these gifts that reflect the deep heart of this community, its generous spirit, its awareness, its Christ consciousness. We bless these gifts knowing that they go out carrying that energy with them. And so it is. Put your hands up in the air. See that sign up there that says be still and know? From now on, when you walk in here, that sign says, don't forget we just blessed the walls. Be still and know what we did today. Right? Jeff and Phyllis did that for us when we redid this room. I will never forget them being there and that ladder and getting up there and getting it so high up there and so big, right above that beautiful stained glass that reminds us to look when we go out the door, to look at the blessed view that we have. We ran a little long today. I hope that's okay with you. It was worth it to me. I hope that it was worth it for you as well. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. I'm going to turn this over to Linda, and I will have a plethora of hugs, a full cornucopia out there, so I'll see you in the lobby.
And thank you for your generosity. I'm sure you know how much I appreciated that. Okay.
Okay. A couple of quick announcements. The Sacred Women's Circle will meet for the New Moon Oracle Gathering and Drum Circle, plus celebrate the solar eclipse scheduled for tomorrow, Monday, April 8th, from noon to 2 p.m. in the sanctuary. Bring your drums. Oracle cards and others will be available. You can also bring your own cards. Join us for food, drink, and great fun. And the Easter hat, bonnets, and ties fundraiser. Oh my gosh. Please see Richard Anthony after the service if you have not paid for your Easter pledges. Cash, check, or you can pay online on the Unity website via the Easter fundraiser tab on the donate page. And now I'd like to introduce our prayer chaplain for today, Forrest. Come.
Thank you. So I really enjoyed doing this. And so I offer that for the thanks, the beautiful, beautiful thanks for the message of Reverend Ahriana, and for Linda, your announcements, and Joe, your beautiful music, so heartfelt. And the ushers and greeters, fellowship, workers, we love what you do for us in the Fellowship Friendship Hall. And our hard-working Board of Trustees, and all of the prayer chaplains that pray for us, that send out our little messages that we get to phone call everyone, and everyone else who gives so much to the Unity Spiritual Center. Please join me in our closing prayer. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you.
Our song. Thank you. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as Creator, when let me walk with each other Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.